Miami Dolphin fans, let me ask you something. Do you love the Dolphins? Do you think they are the greatest football team? How about the greatest show on surf? If you answered yes to any or all of these questions, then fins up and surfs up to the greatest show on surf.shop today. Celebrate the most explosive offense in the NFL with this awesome exclusive merch. From jackets, hats, shirts, and more, they have it all. Use promo code FINSTALK and save 15% on your order. Show off your fandom. Don't wait. Go to thegreatestshowonsurf.shop today.
Miami has the Dolphins, the greatest football team. We take the ball from goal to goal like no one's ever seen. We're in the air, we're on the ground, we're always in control. And all right, as always,
Dolphins number one, baby!
So fins up to all you guys. Thank you for
I just want everybody to remember, we may not always agree on everything Miami Dolphins, but there's one thing we do agree on, is we are all Dolphin fans. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Real Talk Fins Talk. I'm your host tonight, Steve Malloy. Joining me tonight is Dolphin Thirsty, a.k.a. Rob Mosley. How you doing tonight, Rob?
Can't complain, man. Can't complain. Looking forward to this week's upcoming game against the Buffalo Bills. So looking forward to a Sunday night football game. The lights will be on. Hopefully the Dolphins will be on.
I hear you. I want to welcome everybody into the show tonight. I appreciate you joining us. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. As you're coming in, go ahead and give a thumbs up and a like to the channel, and share with your friends, your families, and your neighbors. Well, Rob,
Ray, I have a warning for you, Ray. I have a warning from you. Ray wants it positive today, Steve. He wants it positive.
If you're a Dolphins fan today, I've been a Dolphins fan. I've said this many times for 51 years. I'm a diehard Dolphins fan, passionate Dolphins fan, and I'm pretty angry. I'm very pissed. I'm angry. I'm upset, disappointed with this team. But Rob, before we get started, we lost to the Ravens 56-19. 56-19. I'm going to have you go ahead and start and tell me how you felt and what you thought about the game.
Well, obviously it was a bad game, from injuries, losing players, to the scoreboard, to offense, defense, special teams. It was a bad game all around. I will give Ray Finkel a little shout out. I will say Achane came to play. Durham Smythe came to play. Zach Sealer came to play. Jason Sanders hit all of his required kicks once again. He came to play. So we did have some Dolphin players show up and have some good plays. So I will focus on those. There has to be more of an emphasis on getting Achane the ball the rest of the way. He's a difference maker back there. He runs the ball well, always going forward. So let's get Achane in the game plan, and I'm all for that. So, I mean, there's not much to say. So I know I already talked about it on Monday morning on my show, and it's been hammered. So this is your chance I'm going to let you do most of the talking tonight. But for me, it was an ugly game, a chapter that you got to close, and you got to move forward to the new chapter this week, which is the Buffalo Bills coming to Hard Rock for some Sunday night football action for the nation to see who wins the AFC East. So that's how I'm looking at it. I'm going to let you rock and roll. I know we talked on the phone and behind the studio here. So I know how you feel and you're ready to roll. So I'm going to let you roll, and I'm just going to kind of play the producer today. Hey, Bobby and Daniel and the Back It Up Bins podcast. And of course, big shout out to Ray Finkel. thank you for joining us here this evening on Real Talk Fins Talk.
Absolutely. I appreciate all of you that have joined us tonight. Again, if you're just now coming in, please hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, I see a lot of the folks that are in the chat, Daniel and back it up, Ben's podcast, Bobby, Ray Finkel, you guys are regulars. I appreciate you. But if you're new to the channel and you're listening, please subscribe and share with your friends, your families, and your neighbors. So yeah, I'm pretty disappointed, man. I'm really upset. You know, I didn't expect the Miami Dolphins to win. I really didn't. I didn't expect them to win this game. In fact, I predicted the score to be 24-17. Now, if that was the case, if they would have lost 24-17, 22-20, something like that, okay, I could understand that. You know, Baltimore Ravens are a really good team, and I knew that going into this game. And based on past history with this Dolphins this year, right? I knew and that they were going to lose this game, and I was hoping. Here we go, hoping. That's what a lot of us Miami Dolphins do, is hope. Hope. I've been hoping for 23 years that we'd win a playoff game. Hey, and we still could do that. You know, we could go into the Hard Rock Stadium, you know, this week, and we could beat the Buffalo Bills. But here's a good positive part about that. We're still going to go into the playoffs either way. But we not only lost to the Ravens, we crapped the bed and we laid in it and rolled around in it. Mike McDaniel, Vic Fangio, I don't know what the hell they were doing in practice last week. Were they dancing? Were they learning their celebrations again? You know, like they've normally done in the past? Is that what they spent their time doing? Because they came into Baltimore Ravens unprepared, and here's another thing. We're losing to the Baltimore Ravens. And when the cameras went to the sidelines, what were the Miami Dolphins doing? Laughing, smiling. Did this team come here to win? Or did they just come to, I don't know. Please tell me, is there anybody out there tonight, any Dolphins out there tonight? Can you please explain to me why they even came to Baltimore to play the Ravens? Why? They didn't show up. They didn't show up. And now we're going to play a team in Hard Rock Stadium in the evening. It's going to be a cool South Florida night. The Buffalo Bills, who have beaten us 11 out of 12 times in the last few years. And the last time we played them, we crapped the bed again and rolled in it. We're going to play against Josh Allen. He's another mobile quarterback. And in fact, if you go back and you look at the teams that we played, the games that we've lost, other than, well, not even the Titans game, but all those other teams, they're mobile quarterbacks. And so was Will Levis. Will Levis was running all over on us, making plays, creating plays. So we've got a problem in Miami right now. I don't know if it's a culture problem. I don't know if it's because Mike McDaniel is such a softy, and yes, this team is soft. It is. And the team is a reflection of its coach. Mike McDaniel is all flash with his sneakers and his pedal pushers, you know, and you know, and all his joking and I want to be your friend and you know all this. This is not a social what do they call it? Where a counseling. You know, Mike McDaniel's not a counselor. He's not getting paid to be a social worker or a counselor. He's getting paid to be a freaking coach. Stephen Ross did not get him to come to the Miami Dolphins and pay him all this money to be a social worker. He's a coach. Act like it, Mike McDaniel. This is the December. This is the playoffs that we're going into. Put your damn coach face on. Shut your mouth with the jokes. Stop putting down and shooting a finger to the media and acting like a clown and coming over to Baltimore with that mess. You better start playing football, buddy. You're not on the hot seat this year. You can get away with all the joking now you want. But next year, if you don't win a playoff game this year, I don't care if you don't beat Buffalo. I mean, I do care, but it's not going to be as bad. Well, I do care. Let me put it to you this way: if we lose,
I'm sorry, Steve.
If we lose,
you got my whole family's attention there. Thinking, who's this crazy guy screaming?
If we lose to Buffalo like we lost to the Ravens, then I do care. But if we lose to Buffalo by 2, 3, 4 points, even a touchdown, and we're competitive in that game, and we show up, okay, I got that. I'm fine with that. But if you don't win a playoff game after that, no matter where we go, no matter if we go to Arrowhead or we have it, we better win. Because next year, you will be on the hot seat. And the team that we have constructed now, the talent that we have on this team, the coaching that we have on this team, which I still regard as a good coaching organization right now. And I still consider you a good coach, Mike McDaniel. You're not perfect. I got that. But you've got to put your game face on. You've got to get these, you know, and here's another thing. In his press conference, he said, well, you know, about the game they lost to the Ravens. Well, we have our you know, we're laser focused on Buffalo now. Why weren't you laser focused on Ravens? Oh, now you're laser focused. Did that wake you up? Because it better. You better win a playoff game this year. That's all I have to say.
All right. Thank you, Steve. And I wasn't laughing at you, Steve. I was laughing at my wife's reaction. Now I know why you guys all say I need to get headsets because the whole house is hearing you. My son's over here. My wife is. I go, it's not me. I'm not yelling. So she came and got a smirk and she saw you were having a good time, though. So I said, it's all in good nature. She knows how I yell at the TV and whatever. I can't think it's too funny, though. But anyway, you got it out. You feel better, Steve?
No. Not yet.
Well, everyone laughed.
There's more.
I don't care if you don't win this week, and then you realize, wait, I do care. What am I saying? So
I do care that we win this week. But if we don't win this week, it better not be another crap the bed, laying it type of game. I want to see a competitive game. I want to see Mike McDaniel make adjustments because if you noticed in the Ravens game, you know, he came out in the second and at after halftime, and we were running the same plays. He didn't make any adjustments whatsoever. In fact, it got worse. Because you know why it got worse? Because Baltimore Ravens started masking their defense more. They moved their linebackers back. If you notice that in the game, they started off a little farther up, right? And then they said, oh, I see what their game plan is. They're going to try to throw the ball here, throw the ball there. And they started making those adjustments. Their defense made adjustments. Our offense didn't make any adjustments.
No, the
at
one
all.
thing I agree with you, Steve, is also Achan was averaging over 7 yards a carry, and they hardly went to him. So that's why I think they gave him like 14 carries or something. But when you get a man getting he had 107 yards on trying to do the math. That's like 7 yards a carry.
Yeah.
Basically. So he was getting 7 yards a carry, and he went out there. Achan went out there and balled. This rookie, he's a find. We found a star. You just got to keep the man healthy. He go out there, he's mossing people. He's a little guy up there, leaping up there for touchdowns. He got over 100 yards rushing against a very stingy Baltimore team. He averaged over 7 yards a carry. Feed something that's working. You found something that was working. Make them make the adjustment to stop him. But we never did that. We stopped ourselves from doing that. So I agree with you on that take. Yes, is HM always going to be a 20 or 30 yard carry guy? No. But if it was working that day, you can make the exception for the rule because Mozart was out, so you couldn't feed him. So feed HM until they stop him. Then if they stop him, you say, okay, now they've made their adjustments, but that means they had to sacrifice somewhere else, find out where they sacrifice to stop Achan, and then hit them there. So to me, going away from Achan was not good for the plan. So to me, it's just that's where I kind of got fed up. And definitely, Baltimore had guys running wide open. You and I could have thrown the ball to them that day. Their guys are so wide open. So I don't know if it was coverage screw ups. I don't know if it was just missed assignments or our guys just can't cover at all. They were just running wide open. Most of their catches were wide open. And then the difference between good teams and bad teams is good teams make big plays because on that fourth down game, when they still went for it, and if we stop them, we're still kind of in the game at that point, their guy makes a one-hand catch. What do our guys do? Drop balls in the end zone. So that's a big difference. That's where you separate the big pretenders from the contenders. So the contenders catch them, the pretenders drop them. And I'm saying we're not necessarily a pretender, but we acted bad that day. We just got our butt.
No, you said it right. You said it right, Rob. We are pretenders. Right now, we're pretenders until we prove we're not. And the way that we prove that we're not pretenders isn't this game this week. It's in the playoffs. That's when we find out if we are pretenders or, I'm not going to say frauds because we're not frauds. We've got a 11-5 record. So, we played against NFL teams, that are trying to play just as hard as we are. So we're not frauds in that respect. But you said it right. We are pretenders right now until we prove we're not. And the
Back It Up Ben's podcast, guys, check out his videos. Great stuff. He even has movie trivia, you name it. He has it. Really good, cool, different stuff. But he said something earlier, like as old school as I am, and yes, I want to ring JB Back It Up Ben podcast, but a playoff win would be a step in the right direction, even if that's it. If you win the division this week by beating Buffalo and then get one playoff, at least it's in the step in the right direction. If you go lose in the second round, at least you move forward. You got some kind of foundation to build upon, growth, saying, okay, we got something to build upon for next year. We got that playoff win out of the way. It won't be a burden going into next season. Oh, they haven't won a playoff game since December 30th, 2000, because everyone knows the date. That's how long it's been since the Dolphins won a playoff game. So to me, I want a Super Bowl every single year. Of course, that goes without saying. We haven't had one in 50 years as of this year is the 50-year anniversary. And I was 4 years old when they won it. So I don't remember crap from that game. So obviously, I remember the Super Bowl losses. So yes, it's time to get to the Super Bowl and start playing well. But would I be satisfied at the end of the day with one playoff win and then some hope moving forward? Yes, because at least it would show growth. Because right now we've shown no growth since the tank season. We got beat by our ass by the Ravens in the tank season, the very first game of the season, which I was at with my whole family and saw them get beat down by the Ravens. And this is a team that we're supposed to be the great team, and we got beat down once again by the Ravens. And if it wasn't for a miracle comeback last year, we would have been beat them, So we got to get past some of these teams, and it just is what it is. And we just never got in the flow. There was a couple things where I took a couple things that just an armchair guy, doesn't get paid a penny to know about football. But I'm saying, why are they rushing the play at the end of the first half with the 2-minute warning? Clicking down, just get to the 2-minute warning. You don't want to score too fast anyway. There's no reason to rush. They were already moving the ball on you, so get to the 2-minute warning. Score or don't score, but you don't want them again. So that was a rush. And then I called out to my sons and my wife, and everyone heard. I go, why is Chubb and Van Ginkel doing the game down near the goal line when we're getting killed? And no, I feel like I jinxed it. I should have knocked on wood, because like 2 plays later, Chubb is grabbing his knee. So there are some stupid things that happen from that game. But you just have to, us as fans, we have to harsh on it. But I hope the team's over it, and they just better be ready, getting ready for the Bills. Because if you get blown out by the Bills, then you're really in trouble. And then it's really gets ugly around there.
I agree. And to piggyback on what you just said there, yes, I definitely disagreed. And that's on McDaniel. I'm sorry, Mr. McDaniel, but I know you're a social worker and all that and not a real coach, because a real coach wouldn't have let his players dictate that he wanted to stay in the game, because that's what I heard. Bradley Chubb said he wanted to stay in the game. Well, no, you're the coach. You're not a social worker. You're not his counselor. You don't let your players dictate to you what to protect them. Okay. And that's what it was. We're winning. They're winning by what, 30 something points by that time. And you still have Chubb in there. And not only that, but you had Tua in there. And guess what? Luckily, thank God, he only has a sore shoulder. So he says. Now, we don't know if that's the case. We'll see on the injury report this week. Hopefully, it's nothing really bad, but it is his left arm. It's his throwing arm. So how much is that going to affect him? That's yet to see. But I definitely agree with the Backup Bench podcast on that. Yes, that was on Mike McDaniel. He should have never had those guys in there. And you know what his excuse was? Oh, I was busy with my offense trying to take those guys out. Oh, I guess I forgot. Well, he didn't say this, but basically is what he was saying was, I forgot to take the guys out on defense. Dude, you're the coach. Again, it goes back to the coach. It's all on you, McDaniel. If you can't handle the job, then get somebody else.
Sorry, Steve. You got me all choked up. I started coughing and couldn't control it.
I'm upset with this guy. I like
I know.
McDaniel as a
I got
coach.
all choked up.
He's done a great job in disguising the limitations and weaknesses of this offense. And that's what a good coach does. But the bottom line is, you're not a social worker. You're not supposed to be their friends. You're supposed to be their coach. And that's on you, buddy.
Hey, Brett, welcome in, Brett. If you want to join, let us know. I can drop a link, Brett.
Well,
sorry again, Chief.
I'll get to that as well, Brett. I understand lack of talent on some of the key positions. I agree with you 100%, and we'll get to that. But I wanted to get to the and Brett and now that Brett brought that point up, let me bring up these points. These are the teams that we have lost to. We've lost to the Buffalo Bills, and the offense has only scored 20 points. We lost to the Philadelphia Eagles. The offense only scored 17 points. We lost to the Kansas City frickin' Chiefs. Our offense only scored 14 points. Dallas Cowboys. what? No, Dallas Cowboys is the only decent team that we beat. And how many points did we score? We scored 22, right?
I think.
22 against Dallas. Then we played this last week. We played the Baltimore Ravens. We lost. We only scored 19 points, which averages out to 18.4 points when we play. I'm going to say it, guys, because it's the God dog truth. When we play good teams that have good defenses and have, good coaching on that side of the ball, defenses and offense side of the ball, we lose. So what's the problem? What's the problem? As Britt said, is it the talent that we have on this team?
Check your link.
Is it that we don't have dogs? Is it that we don't have dogs on defense? Because we get bullied. We get bullied on defense when we play these good teams. So what is it? Please, can somebody help me? Can somebody in the audience, somebody that's in the chat, can somebody please tell me what the problem is? Because I can't figure it out. Rob, do you have an idea?
No, and sorry, once again, I had to bail on you there. I started coughing when something you said. I got so choked up. So, but anyway, no. Let's just see how this season plays out before we write off.
No, I'm tired of seeing how the season plays out.
We have to, Steve. What if they end up winning some playoff games?
This has been for how many years? We haven't won a playoff game for 23 years, and we say this every year. Let's see how the season plays out. The season is played out.
Well, what if you win a playoff game, Steve? You're being crazy, Steve, about being reasonable right now, Steve.
Hold on.
It's not over till the fat lady sings. And
the fat lady is already saying. The fat lady is already saying.
What if they go and they win a playoff game, Steve?
Well, then I'm wrong.
Okay, but then don't say it's over. I hope I'm wrong. Steve.
Then if they win a playoff game,
don't say it's over. It's silly to say it's over.
Then everything that we said can be erased. And guess what?
I agree.
We'll all be happy and we can sing Kumbaya. But until that time, I'm going to tell you right now, the Dolphins.
Sorry, Steve, you're talking over me. I'm trying to talk, Steve. Let me talk, Rusev. I'm with you, Steve. It's been way too long since we have. We can't talk. It's bad radio. It's bad TV. I'll let you right back in. Don't worry. I've never even seen. I was 4 years old when we won a Super Bowl. You've seen many, but you can't say season's over, but then say it's not over in the next breath. It's not over. Let's just see. If we lose to Buffalo and then one and done in the playoffs, I'll be here screaming along with you on your side that night. That's it. I just wanted to try to get that, and you weren't letting me get it in. I'm sorry. I played role of producer for once. There you go, Steve.
You're fine. Yeah, Brett's correct. Tannehill has the same type numbers Tannehill had in Miami. But look, I'm not gonna say that it was all Tua's fault this game. It wasn't.
Brett's in the house, Steve, by the way.
Okay, well let's get him on.
Okay.
There's no bubbles coming out.
Oh, he's on. Hold on.
All right.
But anyway.
Hey, I'm here. I can't do camera.
Oh, that's fine. Okay. That's fine, Britt. What were you gonna say?
Oh, man, honestly, it is the same thing we've seen before, right? Remember the Miami Miracle? We didn't win a game afterwards, right? So you remember the Miami Miracle? We didn't win a game afterwards. 2014? I did a thread on this. 2013. We were lined up 8-6. All we had to do was win out, and we went to the playoffs and all that, and we lost to the Bills, got slaughtered in Buffalo. And then everybody lost that needed to lose, and the stars aligned. All we had to do was beat the Jets in Miami, and it's playoffs. And what did we do? We got hit in the mouth and folded. And then it's just like this game, number one seed on the line. It's not that we lost 56-19. It's someone else said this. I think it was Spin Zombie on Twitter. It's that we lost 56-19 with all of that on the line. And it's like they just sucked their thumb and tucked their tails, and they had no response. And then I watched Michigan last night just absolutely go toe-to-toe with a very good Alabama team, a physical Alabama team. And I have no doubt in my mind that Michigan team would have went toe-to-toe with the Georgia team. So, it's just how they build their teams. And you're looking at that, you know what? If we lose to Buffalo and then are one and done in the playoffs, I absolutely think that if we drop from possibly on the number 1 seed to the 6 seed, it's a complete failure. And if I'm Ross, I'm just going to go ahead and fire Greer, which he should have done with send him packing with his buddy Flores. Because it was Greer's whole idea in 2016. It was Tannenbaum's fault. 2019, it was Flores' fault. And now whose fault is it? Our linebackers are the worst in the NFL. Our running back room is average. I don't care what anybody says. Mostert's average as he gets, but he's just as good in the system.
Well, Achan's really good. I know you can't count on him for a lot, but Achan's
right.
special, but you can't count on him for a big workload, but he's special.
Exactly. But now imagine him and Jonathan Taylor. Oh my God. Those two would have been fun as heck to watch, right? So, think of Achan like a Brian Westbrook. Awesome running back, but not someone I want like touching the ball 15, 20 times a game, right? I want him about 10 times a game. So all that said, basically it's the same thing. And if I'm Greer or if I'm Ross, I'm looking at it, here's my Michigan Wolverines about to lose Harbaugh, the best coach we had in a while. I'm just going to go ahead and fire Greer down. I like McDaniel, but he's still young as a head coach. He'll have success again as a head coach, but it's time to fire for the top down, clear this front office out, and just get someone to do things right, because no one has built this core of this team up. Offensive line, defensive line, linebackers, running back. Nothing has been built. And on top of that, our team is good enough if we had a top 5 quarterback, but we don't.
Let me break. That's a good point. That's a good point.
Let me say something.
No, go ahead. And I'm going to piggyback off
what I was going to say.
I'm going to piggyback one off Britt. Britt, don't let me forget. I want to talk about too and what you said about a top 5 quarterback. Go ahead, Rob. Go ahead.
Hold on. Now that I forgot. I knew I was going to slip out of my brain. To me, Brett, when they fired Adam Gase, that's when everyone should have gone. Because I don't care if Greer didn't have much influence. He still was part of the organization way of thinking. Still had that dog, of what he was doing. They needed a clean house there, hire from everyone from outside the organization, right when they fired him. Because when they brought in, Flores, they still kept Greer, and he still had, I don't care if he wasn't in the prime position, but he had some power under Gase and stuff. They should have just
100%.
They should have totally clean house then, bring in fresh plans, not the same old Dolphin, because Chris Greer's been part of this organization, for 16, 17 years. I don't care if he's not in the top spot. You do what your job is, what you become part of the organization you're with. And he's been
here since 99.
Right. So he's been there since way too long. And to me, it was time, they needed a cut. And I don't care if he's a nice guy, whatever, who cares? They needed to do a football decision, fire him, and bring in everyone from the outside that has nothing to do, no ties to the Dolphins for years. Yes. And then I think that would have been a better step.
And here's the thing. I think Tua's a great kid. I like Tua a lot. So when people say I hate him, I don't hate Tua. I think he's a fantastic kid. And I think he's a fantastic locker room guy. And I absolutely love seeing him on Hard Knocks get excited to give his teammates his gifts. I thought that was heartwarming. I thought that was wholesome. And I love it. And I would love for that kid to just be great. But I get the feeling he doesn't love football. And like I've told people before, I don't care that he doesn't love football. I don't hate anybody who doesn't love football. Like if you're a NFL player and you're good enough to get drafted and make millions and you hate it, whatever. How many of us hate our job and still go anyway? Like I actually like mine, but I've had jobs I hated but still showed up every day and still gave it 100%. So we all knew that, right? So don't mind the background of my daughter's playing. But no, you look at the 2020 draft class of quarterbacks. Every single one in the first round, including Jordan Love, has looked better than Tua. Tua's had flashes of moments, but on the road this week, Jordan Love went and just beat the snot out of Brian Flores-led defense, and that's not an easy thing to do because that Minnesota defense is playing well, and he's been lighting it up. Oh, and he threw for 30 touchdowns with less talent, 2 rookie tight ends, a bunch of guys who rotated injuries at receiver. And he's thrown for 30 touchdowns in the same system.
Here's my piggyback on what I wanted to talk about, Britt. Okay, we've got Tua Tagovailoa, right? All right, let's say hypothetical. Let's say we do win a playoff game and blah blah blah, and and everybody's singing Kumbaya and all that kind of crap. All right, now here's the question: are they going to pay him $250 million a year?
Not a year, but
I mean, not a year. I mean, 200,
I know what you mean.
$250 million contract. That's what I meant to say.
Well,
For 4 or 5 years, whatever it might be. Will they do that?
That's tough. Like, I think they will because they've repeated all their mistakes so far. They did it with Tannehill. And I think they're going to do it.
Okay.
But there has to be stipulations, right?
Yeah, well, okay, stipulations. But here's the point. I'm not going to get into the weeds on the contracts and all that. But here's my point. Okay. For 4 years, we've had Tua for 4 years, right? This is his 4th year. Every freaking single year, he's crapped the bed when the lights are shining in his face. Am I correct on that? Am I lying?
No, absolutely.
Okay. Okay. He does that, right? But during the regular season, he's great. Oh, he's playing elite. He's got, he's accurate. He's 2.5 yards, 2.5 seconds he gets the ball off, and he's looking great and all that kind of crap, right? This year and the last 2 years. Now, has he improved in every, for the 4 years that he's been here? Yeah, he's made increment improvements here and there. Okay. But there's one improvement he hasn't made, and that is his mental, his focus on this game. It doesn't, and like you mentioned it doesn't seem like he's focused on this game. And when it comes to him reading defenses, he has not been able to do that. He has not been able to go through his progressions. Now, I'm not saying he doesn't. I'm just saying he hasn't been able to perfect that or been able to get better at that. Okay. Now, all right. Are you going to pay a guy that is good enough to get you to the playoffs, but can't get over that hump, right? Of winning another playoff game or whatever, winning a lot of games in the regular season, right? And you're going to
never worked out.
Hold on. And you're going to pay him all that money, right? And for the for the next 4 or 5 years, he's our franchise quarterback, but he can't do crap. Or wouldn't you rather have a quarterback you said a top 5? Wouldn't you rather have a quarterback that maybe be a top 10 or top 15, quarterback, and they can do the same thing he's doing, and you pay him less money?
Yeah,
I don't understand what their thinking is.
They dove head first this season.
What's
I
that?
don't want to talk on a turn, but I think they dove head first. They went 100% in this season, like the Rams did when they won the Super Bowl with Stafford. And I really think that both McDaniel and Greer felt like, oh, this is our year to win a Super Bowl. This is it. And I think they both felt confident to it. And I think that arrogance was prevalent during the draft process that they didn't even look at Herbert. Flores had to send Godsey to go look at Herbert. And Godsey told him that was his idea to have Herbert throw from the 50 or throw from his knees. And the reason is because he wanted to catch Greer's attention enough to say, you sure you don't want to look at this kid? And then Brian Flores wanted to look at Jordan Love. And he didn't look at either one of them. And it's just frustrating because it's like, here these two are extremely talented. And yeah, Brian Flores couldn't hire an offensive coordinator to save his life. We understand that. That was frustrating with Flores. And, I wanted Joe Brady, and look what the Bills have done when Joe Brady took over. And it's like, like if Flores had hired him, imagine what our offense could have been with Jordan Love or Justin Herbert or even Tua. So, like, it's frustrating because McDaniel has done enough with this offense. He's overcome so many shortcomings.
Yes.
He's made Tua look good. And as soon as the motions and the defined reads are not there and Tua can't throw to spots, that interception he threw to Roquan Smith, he made that throw about a few drives earlier. He made that same exact throw.
Yes.
Roquan Smith saw it, was coming and intercepted it.
Yes.
You can't do that to Roquan Smith. He's too fast. He's too smart. He's too savvy. He's not dumb. He's not going to fall for the same thing twice. And that's the thing. Like, that's where I had said on the pregame show that we needed Tom Brady type of play from Tua. And I don't mean elite level. I mean, like, just a safe, smart take what the defense gives him and go from there. Like, that's what he should have been doing.
You said it.
And he wasn't doing it.
Take what the defense is giving you, and he didn't do it. He was forcing it. And you don't have to be a top 5 quarterback to do that, right? You can be a top 10, 15 quarterback to freaking figure that out, right?
The 49ers didn't lose by 59 points. They scored 20. Their offense had a lot more life than our offense did. So, and Purdy was terrible. He threw 4 interceptions and all that. But,
right.
but even Purdy can do that. That's the thing with Tua. He's always looking for that big play, and he's always he's not patient. And when the things break down and it's not defined, he just crumbles. And this is the same way we've seen him play against the Chiefs, against the Eagles, against all the big time. Every game he's crumbled in. It's the same thing that happened against LSU early on. Watch that game. He crumbled early, turned the ball over. And then against Clemson in the national championship, he crumbled. And against Georgia, he was crumbling. And then he got hurt. And then Jalen Hurts comes in, saves the day, carries them back, and they win that SEC championship.
Right.
And then he goes on, they crush Oklahoma, which Oklahoma has a terrible defense. And, that's when he's good, when he has playing against terrible defenses. Then he gets against Clemson. They hit him in the mouth early, and he never recovers, and you see the same thing. And the frustrating part is it's not improvement from college to now. It's the same thing. And you would expect to say, okay, well, it's because he didn't grow, he didn't know, so now he's got to grow. No, he hasn't grown in that aspect. And that's where you need your quarterback to really step up. Now, Sunday was a total team fail. Special teams was bad. Yes. Defense was bad.
Yes.
$100 million pass rusher can't get to the quarterback. I have a problem with that. Wilkins wanted to reset the market. He couldn't beat the offensive line for nothing. I got a problem with guys wanting to get paid and not showing up in games like that and just getting their lunch money stolen. So you want to be the best paid in the league, then I expect you to step up big time in those games.
And I expect
Anthony, I got a couple questions I got to get answered there. Anthony, no, it's minority stake.
I expect Tyreek to catch touchdowns too, and I expect him not to fumble the ball in Kansas City, and I expect him to catch a touchdown in Philadelphia as well. You're paying these guys big money, and he can't catch it when the lights are shining. I don't get it. But anyway, go ahead, Rob.
Never mind. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
Rob, what was the questions?
Did you want to drop the leak, Rob?
No, he just wanted to know about the ownership, so it doesn't matter. I just said I answered it's not a majority. So do you want me to drop the link for Anthony?
Yeah, no, drop the link for anybody that's they're welcome to come in, and we can talk about this. Go ahead.
What was the majority stake or the minority stake anyway? It was he turned it over to his daughter, right? His daughter gets the team, and what's his name's out and all that.
I think it is. I think you're correct on that. I think it is.
So it's like, and honestly, I hate to say it, but I don't think we're going to have a good team under Ross until he makes better decisions, because I think his decisions have really hindered this team.
Right.
Well, I don't think this team has been good under him. All his debacles, his half fixes. Remember we talked about he didn't clear out. It's like Rob was 100% right. They should have fired Greer down, and they should have went outside the organization and started over, and he still did a halfway fix. And I actually supported him. Like, oh yeah, Greer, the Tannenbaum was in the way, and then you find out that Tannenbaum didn't really get much of a say, and Tannenbaum and Gates were just fighting and arguing back and forth during the draft. And instead of going after a quarterback, he's like, I'm taking Minka Fitzpatrick. And Derwin James was the guy they should have taken. Now Minka wants out of Pittsburgh. Why? Because Pittsburgh's having issues. Yeah. Well, it's funny because that means he can't handle. They want these guys who are quote class act guys, but they're not. That's the problem. They're these guys that they fold under situations like that. You can have class act guys that don't fold. Look at Larry Fitzgerald.
Right. Yeah, he was a class act for sure.
Hey, fellas.
Hey, Anthony, how you doing, brother? Thank you for joining the chat. Do you want to join in? What you want to chime in? What you got?
Oh, what I was asking in the chat, is there a quarterback that you guys are willing to trick? You know how the Rams did with Stafford and Goff, where they found out there was a limit with Goff that they traded for Stafford, and that's how is there a quarterback that you guys would do that for, or no team would trade for Tua with his history, injury history, or his lack of performance, like in big games?
Wow, Rob, you want to answer that?
No, I mean I don't know what the market for Tua is, honestly.
Because I'm looking at Justin Herbert, because he's pissed off that they're going to promote their cheap owners get promote from within and promote Kellen Moore. He doesn't want Kellen Moore. He wants them to bring Jim Harbaugh from Michigan over, and the owner, being the cheap SOB that he is, doesn't want to pay big money for a coach.
Yeah.
Herbert already
Well,
has his money. There's not too much
yeah,
that they can do. He's
no.
under contract, so
Mhm.
he's just going to have to eat whatever the team feeds him. So, I mean,
and he still looks good, even in
I
bad
know.
situations.
So he's just going to have to eat whatever the team decides to feed him for dinner every year. Because
Would you guys be willing to? Are there any? Do you like any of the young kids coming in this draft, or you want a veteran?
none of them that are going to be. Well, I haven't followed the draft, but there was a lot of good quarterbacks that are good coming out. I mean, this kid that plays for Washington, I don't know his size dynamic.
No, he's gonna be in the top 10. We're gonna have to give
all
up
those
too much.
guys.
Well, his injury history, he might slide a little bit. There's people talking about Michael Penix could slide. There's people questioning him. You know how that stuff goes. If he slides, they need to just do it, draft him. But he's top 10 talent. The kid's extremely talented. He's about 6'2", about 210. He's a little slighter frame, but he's an athlete, good arm. But there is question around injury history. He should have shut everybody up about his accuracy last night. That should have been
He was on fire from what I watched.
Yeah, no. For me, the guy I would trade up for. I like these quarterbacks, but I would give up the farm for this guy Brock Bowers. They're saying he's the next Gronkowski.
I wouldn't give up a
Georgia
farm
kid.
for him, but I think he's a fantastic player.
Yeah, no, and to me, I like Tua, but they're. I'm saying I said in the chat too. I compare him to Kirk Cousins and Jared Goff. They can take you there, but they're not going to win you anything. They're not going to give you a damn thing. Like, I like the kid, but there's a limit with him.
Anthony, that Tua's going to probably.
I've lost patience already. I'm almost giving up on this team.
I agree
You
with
guys you guys are older than me, and you guys seen
Anthony. So next year's contract's fully guaranteed against injury and everything, and so they would have to find a trade.
But can you
partner.
understand my lack of losing patience with this team? You guys have
Anthony, I'm with you 100%.
Yeah, we're all with you, but I do think
with
these days, I do believe that Tua's our quarterback next year just because
Yes.
of the fifth-year option. They have to play long term, and they can be looking behind closed doors.
Knowing Greer, he's gonna do the same thing he did with Tannehill. Like, he's gonna sign him to that massive contract like he did with Tannehill.
Well, look, this is what I will say about that, and this is
That
how
was Hickey, I think.
Yeah, well, this is how I feel about that, right? This season is not over yet. We've got Tua Tagovailoa. He is our quarterback right now. He's got 2 games. He's got 2 games to show what he's about, right? And like Rob said, I'm almost positive he's going to be with us here again next year. So we're just going to have
thinking, feeling that if honestly, if we're number 2 and we have to face the Browns, I have a sinking feeling we're going to lose. I don't trust this team. We're too finesse. We're not a physical team, Brett. That's the issue.
I agree with you 100%. I'm sure
the Browns defense will take our lunch money. I think the Browns defense is going to put our offense in strength.
If we lose to the Bills, we're a wild card team, aren't we? If we lose to the Bills, do we become a wild card team?
Yeah,
we lose to the Bills, we're likely 6.
Playing Kansas City. We
would be the 6th seed, correct?
Yes, correct.
We'd be playing Kansas City.
No, wouldn't we face the division winner with the? Wouldn't we face the Jaguars?
No, Kansas City is how it's falling. So that's almost guaranteed. If we lose, is going to be at Kansas City.
So we don't have to worry about facing the Jaguars. Like, I thought we face the Jaguars if we fall that far.
There are scenarios, but that's how you said it. If we lose, Bill wins. Obviously, then we play.
Yeah,
Kansas
because they
City.
had the tiebreaker over us because they would sweep us.
Right.
Right.
Yes, exactly. So in that case, we would play Kansas.
So we have to win against the Bills next week.
What's sad is I predicted us going 11-6, and honestly, if it came out of the division, but that 56-19 loss to the Ravens, if it was competitive and it was like a slugfest, and they just lost, you'd be like, all right, hey, you know what? You went toe to toe. You won a playoff game. You punch them in the mouth. They punch back, and they just got the final laugh. Okay, cool. You see them again in the playoffs. Let's go at it. But
can you
just
explain
getting blown
that?
out and then
we
losing
were
Chubb
physical
and
against the. Wait, Brett. Can you explain the lack of physicality against the Ravens? But we were physical. We played physical against the Cowboys. What happened?
Because The Cowboys are still speed though. They're physical, right? But they have a lot of speed. But we were physical defensively against Dallas. However, the Ravens, like defensively, I don't know what was going on. There's a lot of miscommunication. Ramsey was ripping Holland after every play. Holland was terrible, absolutely terrible. And normally, like, I'm not a big Holland as much as other fans are. I think he's a good player, but people think he's great. He's average in coverage, but he's a good safety. He's a good run defender. He's below Rashad Jones. Like, I would take Rashad Jones over him, but he's still a good player. But he was out of position, and so was Elliott.
Would you move Javon to strong safety and draft a free safety then?
Yeah, I would draft I wanted Jesse Bates because I want an athletic safety. So, yeah, I would actually go after a ball hawk safety. I would keep Holland. I wouldn't get rid of Holland. I'm not saying that. He's a good player. I think he's a good safety, but I think you need a guy who's a ball hawk that could play with him. And I don't think Fangio is back. I think Fangio is gone after this year.
You think Fangio's gone after this year?
Yeah, he was only a 1-year thing, I think, and I think Greer pissed him off by when he said, "I need better linebacker, I need better defensive line, I need better edge rushers." And when he drafted Cam Smith, Fangio said, "That's not what I would have done. That's not who I wanted." And then Greer tried to get him to make Tyndall work, and that wasn't going to work. So Fangio's pretty much like, "Well, fine, you figure it out. This is your mess. I'm leaving after this year." Wow. It's kind of like my feel of everything. I don't.
So you think
Greer thinks he knows better than coaches?
Yeah. Do you think that do you think the reason why our defense cannot cannot adjust to good teams? Do you think it's because it's the coaching Fangio, or do you think it's because of what Fangio said? He just doesn't have the specific talent or skill positions that he would like to have. Do you think that's what that
For me,
is?
it's 50-50.
What you say, Anthony? 50-50?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, it's like a mix. Like, yeah, we could use more talent, especially at linebacker, especially getting to depth, and you would have much better coverage and much less busted coverages, especially against like tight ends and stuff. You notice teams that have any type of threat at tight end, our defense just folds. It's a bad linebacker play. We've had bad linebacker play ever since Philbin took over and they got rid of Dansby and Burnett. And we never got good linebackers after that. And Greer wanted pushovers. Greer continued that where he devalued linebacker, running back, and interior offensive line. So if we have better linebacker play, yeah, but it's also athletic quarterbacks give us fits. Josh Allen, Dak actually had moments where his athleticism gave us fits. That's linebacker, and that's issues with safeties not communicating. And that's why I'm scared because we no longer have pass rush. But I think it's also Fangio's scheme.
Right.
I hate that scheme.
Welcome, Courtney. Welcome to
Got you.
Courtney
has been talking about Cam Smith. What do you guys think about Cam Smith? Let me start with you, Anthony, and then Brett, you can follow up.
Yeah, for me, the Cam Smith thing is I kind of blame a corner needs playing time. Like, and Fangio, I've said this since we hired him. He has a track record of not playing any rookies or young players in the first 2 years. He waits till their third or fourth year in the league and stuff like that. And a corner is the one position that needs that playing time and reps to get out the bad habits. But if you're not playing him, that was a pointless pick. Like, I like Fangio, but his track record proves that he doesn't like playing young kids. He'd rather go with the veterans and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
That's because his secondary requires to be very, very disciplined and knowledgeable and understand what's in front of them and what they're seeing. One misstep by the secondary and big plays happen, as you saw. Eli Apple.
Would you say he's a bend don't break? Like
he's always a bend don't break guy. Yeah, I mean he's always been a bend don't break defense, but his defense, like Ben Albright had talked to me before at the beginning of the season. I'd asked him a little bit about Fangio's defense, being he covers the Broncos, so he saw that a lot more than I did in person. He explained to me how the Fangio defense works, and it's pretty much it's questionable against the run by design because they want to bait you into throwing at him. They want to like, okay, you could run on us. That's fine. We're going to bait you into throwing at us and bait you into bad plays, which we've seen them do, but they've seen them do against quarterbacks who struggle. But against good quarterbacks, they've had moments where they're good. Like this defense is not terrible.
No.
But at the same time, like the personnel isn't right. You go back and look at him in Chicago, he had fantastic linebackers. Denver, good linebackers.
Mhm.
So you
San Fran,
think
he
no
had
matter
top down the
Brett,
best
I have a
defense in the
question for you.
NFL.
So you think no matter if we have to trade for linebackers or draft linebackers, so if we trade for a guy like Surtain or a guy like Justin Simmons from Denver who maybe want to get out of there, it's
I'd be
pointless
all
because
over
we
it.
don't have linebackers.
Well, no. So I think Justin Simmons fixes a lot of the issue in the secondary, a lot of the issue with the coverage, a lot of the blown assignments. He's a ball hawk. He knows when to go after the ball. He knows when to pick. This is why I was like really wanted Jesse Bates because I need a smart. He needs a smart safety in that secondary. But regardless, no matter what, linebackers have to improve anyway. But if I'm Miami, I would trade for a safety because while safety is not necessarily a premium position, if you have a good safety like Justin Simmons, it helps your defense, especially this defense, who is struggling to cover. And if we have to rely on Cam Smith, and we only have like 23 returning players next year, and they got to gut the roster of contracts just to get above the cap. So they're going to have to figure out something. So I think they're going to have
Denver
to make
would
some
be
trades.
dumb enough though to trade Patrick Surtain?
No, I don't think so. I think like Josie Jewell and Justin Simmons could be available, but I wouldn't look too much into that if Andrew doesn't stay. We'll see.
Wow, that's interesting that you. I still can't get my head wrapped around it. He may not be here next year. Yeah, that's going to be another thing where we're going to have to start from scratch again and rebuild this defense. So how is that going to I know that we're going too far and ahead here, but man, that's not going to look too good. I mean, starting from scratch on the defense and McDaniel's already got the offense clicking. Now we're going to have to start back in defense, and defense has been playing good. It's been playing good at some points. During the season. I mean, they were really good. So wow,
Yes.
that's interesting.
But look who they were good against.
Yeah, I got you, and I brought that up tonight.
Look at the.
Rob, go ahead.
Look at the history of Fangio. The offenses were ball controlled. The offenses sustained drives. The offense scored points. And
true.
when Fangio's defense, that system fails, when the offense can't do anything. In today's NFL, your offense is your defense anymore. Look at the Bills and the Chiefs.
I agree. Rob, what were you going to say?
No, I was just going to say we got a lot of Cam Smith love in the room here on the chat.
I like Cam Smith too. Look, I was down here. They were down here in Houston. Playing and doing the joint practices and stuff. Cam Smith has been hurt. He was hurt when he was down here in Houston. I saw him up close. He doesn't have much muscle on him, man. He doesn't. He's just a small frame guy. And it shows. I mean, he got hurt in preseason during one of the games. He got hurt. He got hurt in practice. I know he came
not a Greer pick. A Greer pick getting hurt? Nah, there's no way.
No, I don't mean he was hurt before he got here. I mean, he got hurt while he was playing,
his frame is not ready for the NFL yet. Right. He's also mentally not ready for the NFL. He's not shown enough in practice. Correct. So he hasn't shown that he's understanding of the defense fully in practice.
Right.
So, and Sam Madison is the secondary coach. So, I mean, or one of the corners coaches. Right. So if Sam Madison sees it, he would start him. But he's not seeing it in practice, so he's not playing.
That makes sense. I mean, who else? Yeah, you're right.
No, Nick Needham.
That's what we were told
this week, supposedly. So we'll see if he can step in.
I hope.
I hope so too. I like Nick Needham.
Nick Needham is a lot better in his system than Eli Apple has been.
Yep. I agree 100%. I agree 100%. Listen, guys, we're getting close to the hour here. I sure appreciate you, Brett, for coming on. Anthony, as always, I appreciate you coming on, brother. You always have to make some great points.
He dipped out. Anthony's gone, but thank you, Anthony.
Well, Anthony, if you're still around in here, please join us again when we have these open panels. So I appreciate all of you that joined tonight. And please hit that like button. Subscribe if you're new, and share with your families, friends, families, and neighbors. And Rob, once again, thank you for being so patient with me when I went off on my rant. I appreciate
No,
it.
it's all good, man. I never had to mute you before, but I go, man, Steve's loud. That's why
Yeah.
my wife actually came out in the room saying someone's as loud as Rob finally in life. You know, to come, who's
Yeah.
matching me because I'm known to be the, I'm known to be loud and scream at the
dude, if we were both
came
in the
out and said,
room,
who is talking so loud? That's why I guess it's a thing for headphones.
yeah,
Maybe
if
I
we,
really need some
you
headphones.
need some. Hey, if we were both watching the game together, man, it would be a riot. I guarantee you.
No, that would be fun, man. One day you got to get down here next year. And go there.
Absolutely.
And same with you,
Hey,
Brett.
I'm telling you though, if they win this game, it is definitely a testament to McDaniel, which I blame McDaniel a lot less for how things have gone. Penalties and kind of like game flow are on him. But play calling is one thing I'll never blame him for. Execution's been not great. But he understands his talent on the roster. And that's how play calling goes.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
Which is why I don't blame him. But
For sure.
if they lose, and this isn't real, I think McDaniel will have success. And part of the reason Bobby and I wanted a veteran coach is because this team needed someone who understands the every little detail would help this team. And unfortunately, those details I think also hurt this team because they don't execute in certain things. And I think
I know
a veteran coach would understand that more.
Time stake from the Miami Dolphins history of him being a backup quarterback that got Don Shula's historic victory, but his team's not really doing any better down the stretch either. I'm be first to admit I don't know Jacksonville talent level. I know they got Trevor Lawrence at QB, but they've been kind of sputtering down the playoff stretch. Yeah. So I don't know.
And that's very true too. And I think honestly, and I said it, but when we were looking at McDaniel, I was actually hoping we would go after hardball. And I kind of hope that honestly, it might be one of the only things that helps this team. And it's again, I would wish nothing but the best for McDaniel. I would hope he has success and wins the Super Bowl with somebody else. And honestly, it sucks for him that this might be a mess, but I think he's done enough to where a team would oh yeah, we'll hire him. But he also might have done enough to where everybody's job is safe.
He'd be an offensive coordinator within minutes, and then maybe he would probably get a chance at a hit. But I'm hoping he becomes a long-term tenured coach here and things get righted because I like him overall. I just wish it would have been some other way, and it wasn't with Greer because unfortunately, if Greer goes, some other coach is going to probably – you can't just force again keep on forcing a coach on a new GM and vice versa. Can't get it
unless
whatever. You just it goes both ways. You can't have a new coach but make him work with the GM. You need a guy that can work hand in hand together.
But the way they could do it this time, what they haven't done when they hired a GM, they really didn't involve Philbin with that, right? And then when they hired a head coach, it was kind of oh yeah, the GM's going to help. Yeah, that really didn't happen. So what I think they should do is, if they want to keep McDaniel, is go get I think it's Robertson. I forgot his Peters from San Francisco, the assistant GM there. Go get him. He's a hot name for GM. Go get him and have him work pretty much under McDaniel in a sense, kind of like how Lynch and Shanahan are. And it's really not the GM working for the head coach, or working above the head coach. It's now the head coach pretty much is running things. But the GM is basically doing all the legwork and getting the talent, and he's getting the talent that he knows what to get because he knows the system very well, and he's been around the system for quite a long time. And he was there taking Debo and all those guys, so he would understand. Okay, this is what the system is. This is what we need. This is what they like to do.
Yeah, you're talking sort of like a Bill Parcells was when he was with Miami, right? Kind of like an in between.
But McDaniel would basically be to say you're basically getting the GM to kind of work for McDaniel in a sense,
right?
Or with McDaniel, he's still the GM, but I wouldn't say he doesn't have firepower, but kind of like Pete Carroll is in Seattle. He's pretty much the one that does the talent stuff.
Gotcha.
He pretty much I would do that, and if not, I would bring in Harbaugh, let him do that.
Hey, Mr. Courtwright, thank you for joining us. No, Marino wouldn't be a good general manager. That's too much. He's good in his figurehead position that they've given him right now and out there shaking hands.
I agree.
Face. But A general manager is someone that has to eat, sleep. Marino's not at that point.
Well,
in his
Rob,
career
they
yet.
offered him that position
I know
for
they
one
did, and
day,
he
and
turned
he
it down.
quit.
I mean,
He quit the next
accepted
day.
it and he took it and then said, "Hey, this isn't for me." He
Yeah.
realized
Yeah.
that is something that you work. You're basically 24/7. You're trying to get the team better, overturning
Absolutely.
rosters, and doing.
Yeah, you're
For Marino, just keep him in the nice little hanging out in the owner's suite and that kind of gig. That's what.
I
the
agree.
GM's job is listen to scouts.
Yeah.
Trust your scouts. The GMs trust their scouts. They have success. The GM doesn't trust the scouts. Oh, I know what I'm looking at. You're gonna fail.
All right,
Every time.
Rob, you
Well,
ready? You ready?
We maybe have to blow up our whole scout. I don't know. It's just been way too
I will.
long since the Dolphins have done anything.
Rob, you ready to go? I know you.
Hey guys, I'm gonna head out. Thanks for
might
having me
have
on, guys.
to,
All right, thanks, Brett.
Hey, no problem, Brett. Appreciate it, brother. Anytime.
Fins
Hey,
up, guys.
fins
Make
up.
sure you hit that fins
Fins
up,
up.
thumbs up. Tackle the subscribe button if you're new to us. Finstock Sports Network. I'm Dolphins Thirsty. You can find me here on YouTube too. YouTube as well. That sounds a little bit better. So you can find me also trying to build my.
Courtney was in here as well, Rob. You might want to
Who?
mention Courtney.
Yeah, Courtney was here. Yep.
You might want to
So,
mention her show too as well.
Yeah,
on
she
the
may be
network.
getting a Buffalo Bill fan on her show on the Dolphin Thirsty Network. We will find out if she hooks up with one or not.
Good
But
stuff.
anyway, Steve, no, it's always fun, Steve. It's always fun. I had to mute you for the first, you almost sounded like Evan for a minute. You just kept on going. I said, man, he's not letting me get a minute in. I have to get my 1 minute in.
I'm just passionate, man. I love my
I know
Miami
we
Dolphins,
all are, man. We are.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
and
I know.
Bobby Finstock for additional great content.
There you
9:30
go.
tonight. This very bat channel, guys. They will talk about the Heat probably too, but they definitely will talk about the Miami Dolphins and a lot of fun stuff about life and potato chips and cereal and whatever else topic word of the day, you name it, they will cover it. So make sure you check them out. 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. Good stuff from cool people. One day I will make a guest appearance on their show, but I haven't been invited yet. But one of these days, I know he would say, "Of course you're invited, Rob." It goes without saying, but it's still good to get an invite. Just teasing, Bobby. You guys do great. It's fun, and yes. So one day,
And
Steve,
Bobby,
we need to nail that show both together one day. Overtake them, Steve. Use your passion, Steve.
absolutely. Hey, Bobby,
You actually
please.
strolled the streets of Hialeah for a while, Steve, back in the day.
Yeah, I did. Hey, Bobby, please keep calm tonight on East 10th Street Boys.
Look who's calling whatever the kettle black, whatever the old saying is. Keep calm. That's a good one. I love it. All right, man.
All right, Rob. Let's
Wait. No, don't
head on
scream
out.
yet. Don't scream yet. Let me
All
get
right.
the video. Caneswear, guys. You're about to see a cool video about Caneswear. So there you go. All right, Steve. Now you're ready.
All right. Remember, Dolphins number one, baby. Dolphins number one.
Fins up. You guys are great.
Hey, Miami sports fans. Stop by Caneswear today at 2655 South University Drive in Davie, Florida. And check out their awesome merchandise selection of your favorite South Florida sports teams. From the Miami Dolphins, Hurricanes, Heat, Marlins, Florida Panthers, and Inter Miami, they've got it all. Celebrate your favorite team and show off your fandom with their beautiful team starter jackets, killer-looking helmets, team jerseys, cool shirts, and more. And if you're out of town or out of state, no worries. Go to caneswear.com and find everything they have on their site. Select what you want, and they will ship your gear to you. Anything over $99 is shipped for free. Don't wait. Stop at Caneswear today.